in some ways, well, not in some ways, what you've done with River is you've taken a low time preference in terms of building the business to build it right,
Yes.
to structure it right, to protect your business. The cost of that is the cost of doing business.
Yes.
Scaling, speed. You've almost taken that Sailor approach where he talks about building things for decades
Yes.
rather than quickly, because there's so much inherent risk.
Yes.
What have been the kind of pros and cons for you for that?
The cons have been dealing with, the pros have been sleeping at night, right? Or at least just dealing with a different type of problem than worrying about my custodian. The cons have just been like all the extra overhead that comes with that. There's pros to that. I mean, it does force you to just mature very quickly as an org, right? If you're getting licensed in all these states, like you can't operate just like a normal startup. You have to get professional really fast, right? Like from day one, we've had full financial audits every single year. It's painful. Like if I don't know who's like, some people listening who have been through a financial audit understands like how painful it is. But it forces us to have our act together, right? And it forces us to have our systems, our accounting, our books, like tight to the T, like very early, all these controls, all this stuff that would be like only a big company would have. You kind of just have to get in place early on. So the downside is having to do all of that, but the upside is like, well, we need to be doing that anyways. So it's expensive. It slows things down. Like and I think people say that a lot. Here's like a tangible example of how like the complexity it adds. Somebody's like, you know what? Like, I want this service of yours, but I want to pay you in Bitcoin, right? Well, we're a Bitcoin company. We should be able to accept payment in Bitcoin. Well, like a typical startup could like just easily, just like send us Bitcoin. You're good. No, we need to make sure that financial transaction, we know how to classify that in a GAAP accounting way, and it's like properly documented, like that the Bitcoin was accepted and like when it was converted, and how are we recognizing this revenue? What if the Bitcoin price changes? How do we explain to auditors sort of like the nature of this transaction and like this entry on the GL? There's just like all this downstream complexity you have to worry about this like single event like creating, right? And that could lead to 20 to 40 hours of work for people, right? Just dealing this one exception to things, this one new thing. And that's like just a little example about sort of the type of complexity and expense this stuff adds to businesses.
There's a tax implication on that as well. I was talking to Danny about this the other day. I don't know if it's the same in the US, but our turnover and profit, any Bitcoin we receive, that is priced as in pounds at the day we receive it. If the Bitcoin we hold drops in value, that doesn't change our turnover. Mm-hmm. So say we were only paid in Bitcoin and we received £1 million in Bitcoin. On our books, in our P&L, that says we received £1 million. Mm-hmm. Not £1 million of Bitcoin, yes. £1 million. If the price of Bitcoin drops 50%, that entry still says £1 million. And so if, say, we made £500,000 profit, we would have to pay tax on £500,000 profit, even though the Bitcoin we hold is worth less than that. Mm-hmm. Now, we get a credit on capital gains the following year if the Bitcoin goes up in value, but there can be a tax implication. Now, I wasn't aware of this at the time. I didn't think we were receiving £1 million. I thought we were receiving Bitcoin, and at the end of the year, we value that and pay tax on that. That's not true. So it's just being a Bitcoin-only business is actually very difficult with volatility.
Yes.
So we have to now, whether it's the football club or whether it's the podcast, we have to consider that risk. And it's annoying because like sometimes you get paid in Bitcoin, you want to hold it. Like the football club, the Bitcoin it held from when we launched it is down in value. Mm-hmm. Still got to pay tax on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And add a GAAP financial audit on top of that, where you have to deal with a third-party audit firm who's putting their reputation on the line to sign off on your books. And that whole world is fiat. Everything is in dollars. They don't care that you have Bitcoin that you think in Bitcoin. They don't care. Like that doesn't matter. The law doesn't care about that, right? Like the dollar numbers have to be right. And so, but I wouldn't do it any other way.
course. With that, though, you've built a very robust business, right?
Yes. Yes.
I know it's your firm, but the way I look at River, I consider you the strongest Bitcoin on-ramp, the most well-established long-term Bitcoin company. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. We've had these conversations. That's how I look at River. But then I also, just to be fair, I look at River and go, I don't hear a lot from River. You're not out there marketing all the time. And I think that potentially is because you have been doing that hard work. Has that been a tough thing to explain to investors?
Not really. Well, because we've actually had great growth. I mean, the last 4 months we've hit all-time high record monthly transacting users month to month. But that said, we probably haven't, the lack of marketing was, I would say was predominantly because of who I am, right? I'm an engineer. I'm a builder. Like the first phase of River was it was my team building it. And then also, honestly, just learning how to run a company. And, this is my first startup, getting smart as a founder and a CEO. And we had nice organic growth in the beginning. So marketing wasn't this thing like we were sort of desperately in need of. But one of my biggest learnings as a founder was, and one of my biggest weaknesses early on was just I'm not a marketer. I didn't know how to market something. And so that's something I had to get smart about. We've since built a really strong marketing team in the last year, and it's been paying dividends. And so you're going to see that change more and more.
But it felt like you were doing the hard work up front to build the right company first.
Yes.
No shit coins.
Yes.
Bitcoin focused, no stupid products. Now everything I understand about how you've built the back end in terms of, you controlling the stack rather than outsourcing it. It sounds like you've built for the long term.
Yes. This company is being built we're building a cathedral, brick by brick. And so, we didn't feel this need to yell it from the rooftops early on. Like we needed to figure things out, right? We had a lot we had to do to get it all right. And we're just now getting to the point where we're like, you know what, we can ramp this up. And it took us 4.5 years to get there.
You've had FTX marketing for you.
Exactly. We had a lot of these guys marketing for us. I mean, it's kind of funny, our ranking in the market has gone up because basically a lot of top guys just blew up. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I've also noticed you've expanded your services a lot. You've offered the mining, which surprised me at first. I was like, wow, where does this come from? But you offer the professional services. What do you
Lightning
call it?
payments?
The
private client.
Private client. You offer that service. You offer the business services. I've seen all that coming and been part of it, but you haven't gone into the loans market.
No, we never will.
Oh, you never will. Not even in a way like Unchained have done it, where
no.
Okay.
I don't like lending.
Okay.
I don't like to be absolute. I don't like to say never because life changes, markets change. There's opportunities that come up. I learn new things. I learn there's opportunities that are within our risk tolerances. I have a hard rule. We only build things that allow us to sleep at night. I don't like lending. I just fundamentally don't like it. It just doesn't make me feel good. It feels weird. Feels like leverage. It adds a bunch of risk. It's opens us up to all these fiat things that we're not. We're not a finance company at our core. We're builders. We're engineers. We're product people. River is going to our growth and our expansion and our product suite is going to be focused on building really, really good software.
Okay.
Not building really good financialized sorts of things.